Tragic incidents are indeed painful and unfortunate. This House joins me in expressing our heartfelt condolences as well as deep sympathy and sorrow on the losses suffered by the people of Malaysia and the Kingdom of Tonga and reiterate India's stand of solidarity with them. I request the members to raise their places and observe silence as a mark of respect to the memory of those who lost their lives in these tragic incidents. Honourable members, I have to inform members that in view of the limited functional time available and the special seating arrangements made for the current session, I have acceded to the request made by the Minister of Parliament Affairs for permitting the Minister of State and the Minister of Parliament Affairs to lay all the papers listed under the heading "Papers to be laid on the table" in the list of business for the day in the name of other ministers till this session because of the COVID situation. Papers to be laid on the table. Sri V. Muralidharan.
Chairman, respected Chairman, sir, with your permission, on behalf of my colleagues Sri Nityananda Rai ji and Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji, I lay on the table of the House the papers listed against their names at serial number 1 and 2 in today's revised list of business.
Reports of the Department related to Parliamentary Standing Committee on Transport, Tourism and Culture. Sri T.G. Venkatesh.
Respected Chairman, sir, Namaste. I rise to present the following reports in English and Hindi of the Department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Transport, Tourism and Culture. 304th report on the action taken by the government on the recommendations, observations as contained in its 293rd report on the subject's status of aviation connectivity in the country. 305th report on the action taken by the government on the recommendations, observations as contained in its 294th report on the subject development and conservation of museums and archaeological sites, challenges and opportunities. 306th report on the action taken by the government on the recommendations, observations as contained in its 295th report on the subject potential of tourist spots in the country, connectivity and outreach. 307th report on the action taken by the government on the recommendations, observations as contained in its 296th report on the subject's role of highways in national building. 308th report on the action taken by the government on the recommendations, observations as contained in its 297th report on the subject functioning of Airports Authority of India, and 309th report on the action taken by the government on the recommendations, observations as contained in its 300th report promotion of infrastructure in India's maritime sector. Thank you, sir.
I have to inform members that the Business Advisory Committee in its meeting held on 1st of February has allocated time for government business as follows. Discussion on motion of thanks on the President's address, 12 hours. General discussion on the Union Budget 2022 and 23, 11 hours. The committee also recommended that the private members' business on Friday, the next Friday, 11th of February, may be dispensed with to complete the general discussion on the Union Budget on that day. Honourable members, you are all aware the sittings of the House from today, 2nd February, onwards will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Rule 180 of the Procedure of Rules and Conduct of Business in Rajya Sabha provides for admitting call attention notices, and Sub-Rule 5 states that they should be raised at 2 p.m. and at no other time during the sitting of the Council. In view of the change in the time of the sittings, the House during this session For the sake of convenience, calling attention shall be raised in the House at such a time as may be decided instead of strictly at 2 p.m. as provided in the rules. Similarly, Rule 180C1 provides that the time for submitting notices for special mention shall be up to 5 p.m. on the day for raising the matter on the next day of sitting. Again, in view of the change in timings, it has been decided that the time for submitting notice of special mention shall be up to 10 p.m. on a day for raising the matter on 1 p.m. on a day for raising the matter on the next day of the sitting. I hope the House accept these modifications regarding 0 hour, keeping in view the time constraint. It will be taken up the first half an hour of the sitting. I appeal to members that instead of taking 3 minutes, please take 2 minutes so that more and more members get an opportunity. And there were some people who have given 267 notice. I have not admitted also. You have time for a budget, and you have discussion for the discussion on budget. Yes. Yeah. The notice is the same notice like last session, concern over alleged surveillance using Pegasus spyware. Honorable Deputy Chairman Sri Harivamsaji, Leader of the House Sri Piyush Goyal ji, and Leader of the Opposition Sri Mallikarjun Kharge ji, leaders of various parties and groups, and honorable members of this August House. I extend a warm welcome to all of you to this important budget session, 256th session of Rajya Sabha. As the chairman of this August House, I wish to present a brief account of the extent in which this session is taking place and in relation to the past and obligation of this House for the future of our country and its people. This session is happening almost in the midst of the 75th year of country's hard-fought independence. The sole objective of the long-drawn freedom struggle was Swaraj, in which people are the masters of their destiny through parliamentary institutions and elected representatives. Over the years, this year also, marks the 70th year of elections in the country since the elections to the first Lok Sabha during 51-52. This session accordingly is being held in the confluence of two such historic events and hence assumes significance. In addition, any budget session offers a broad guidance to the course of economic progress over the next financial year. This budget session acquires added significance as the nation is collectively keen on enduring to lift the national economy from out of the adverse impact of the COVID pandemic over the last 2 years. Threats to the country are still continuing with the third wave of the pandemic at present. The world is living under uncertainty on account of this pandemic. This reminds all of us of our responsibility to do the needful to overcome this challenge and secure the socio-economic transformation of our country, which is work in progress. It is appropriate to reflect on how this August House has functioned during 75th year of independence. So far, during the first winter session, last winter session, the first in this historic year, this August House has lost 52.10% of the valuable sitting time due to disruptions and forced adjournments. During the preceding monsoon session last year, the loss of functional time of this House was as high as 70.40%. This trend of disruption is highly disturbing. I refer to the same with fervent hope that we all reflect on the same and conduct ourselves in a manner befitting the historic time that we are passing through. During the last 70 years of election, the voter turnout has increased from 45% in the elections to the first Lok Sabha to over the highest ever, over 67% in the 17th elections in 2019. This marks an increase of 50% in voters' participation. The voter turn in polls to the state assemblies is even higher. This goes to prove that citizens of our country continue to impose their faith in democracy. In this historic year, the need of the hour is for the 5,000 MPs, MLAs and MLCs to resolve to return to the people the favor they have been relentlessly doing by nurturing our democracy. The only way of doing so is to conduct ourselves in a manner befitting the trust the citizens still have in our parliamentary democracy. Having said so, I would like to remind that this budget session last year, the House clocked a productivity of 93.50%. The spirit of occasion demands that this House turns out the best performance during the important budget session. Honorable members, this is the 6th session being held since the outbreak of COVID pandemic. Given the highly infectious nature of the variant of corona virus during the current third wave, both the houses are meeting in shifts, first adopted during the monsoon session of 2020. On account of this, we get to meet 1 hour less for each sitting during this session. During these 10 sittings of the first of this session, part of the session, we are left with only 23 hours of functional time, and also the 0 hour, the question hour, and private members' business on one day. Keeping this view, the government clarified yesterday that it does not intend to propose any legislative business for the first part of this budget session. Accordingly, the Business Advisory Committee has allocated time. Two important overreaching decisions enable the members to raise every issue referring to the spirit of rules and conventions. These 0 hour and question hour are very important. I also have some important information to share with all of you regarding function of standing committees. I need not repeat the importance of these committees because they are for 24/7 functioning of the Parliament. I am happy to inform that the average attendance of the members in the meeting has increased from 47.64% in 2016-17 to 48.79% in 1920. It fell marginally during 2021, but the average attendance in 255 sittings during the 1921 has been 47%, despite the long spell of COVID pandemic. There is also a welcome improvement showing the deep commitment of each one of you to your parliamentary duties. With regard to the duration of the meetings of the 8 committees, the average duration of meetings improved from 1 hour 48 minutes to 2 hours 10 minutes during 1920, marking an increase of 22 minutes on average per meeting. This is a welcoming sign. The Home Committee reported the highest increase of 66 minutes per meeting, followed by the Committee on Transport with 44 minutes increase, Commerce 42 minutes, Education 29 minutes, Science and Technology 22 minutes. Similar trend prevailed during 2021. Such substantial increase in the duration of the meetings meant that the resources spent on the meetings of these committees are being better utilized. I compliment the chairmen and also the members of these committees for their efforts in this regard. Honorable members, our country has demonstrated remarkable resilience in vaccinating the people. I hope that each one of us also will take initiative to take care to see that people in our respective areas are all, wherever eligible, they are vaccinated immediately. The Secretariat issued guidelines for regarding COVID complaint behavior of to avoid the infection. I urge all of you to take all precautions suggested. I fervently appeal to all of you to ensure a safe and productive session, and once again appeal members, keep the distance, safe distance or secure distance, whatever is suggested, please do accordingly. Then Sri Rajamani Patel, 2 minutes please.
माननीय सभापति जी, रीवा हनुमाना 90 किलोमीटर की 4 लेन राष्ट्रीय राजमार्ग में 5000 से अधिक पैस लगाए जा चुके हैं। एमपीआरडीसी के अधिकारियों का कहना है कि 14 जून 2019 को निरीक्षण में लगभग सभी ओवरब्रिजों पर सड़क के बीचों बीच डामर के उबड़ खाबड़ टीले एवं सड़क निर्माण के कच्चे मटेरियल जगह जगह उभरा हुआ है। खुदरा पर निरीक्षण अनुबंध शर्तों के अनुसार टोल वसूल रही विंध्या एक्सप्रेस कंपनी को प्रतिवर्ष कराना पड़ रहा है। एक्सप्रेस कंपनी को प्रतिवर्ष निरीक्षण कराना अनिवार्य है। मॉनिटरिंग एजेंसी के अधिकारियों को रोड का निरीक्षण कराना होता है। खुरदरा पर निरीक्षण के समय सड़क खराब होने के कारण ब्यौरा नाले के तत्काल टोल वे की वसूली रोकना होता है, लेकिन कंपनी के द्वारा अनुबंध का पालन नहीं
Nobody should read.
किया जा रहा है। मनमाने ढंग से टोल वसूला जा रहा है। भारी वाहनों के
Sri Ajay Pratap Singh, not there. Sri Wilson, P. Wilson, please. Padna nahi, I told you, within 1 minute or 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes.
In many districts in Tamil Nadu during month of October and November 2021, which caused heavy, extensive damages to the property and other critical infrastructure. The government of Tamil Nadu submitted 3 memorandums to Government of India seeking financial assistance of 6,230.45 crores towards relief and restoration. The interministerial central team visited the affected areas in Tamil Nadu in the month of November 2021 and made an on-spot assessment. It is more than 70 days after the visit of interministerial central team. The union government has not released any financial assistance in response to the 3 memorandums presented by the state. With the hope that the union government will release the relief expenditure, the government of Tamil Nadu has already incurred an expenditure of 9,699.67 crores under the STRF, which includes the COVID-19 management expenditure and disaster relief already provided. Hence, the government of Tamil Nadu is already facing severe financial crunch due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Hence, I urge the Honorable Union Minister for Home Affairs through this August House to appreciate the urgency for the release of the assistance of 6,203.45 crores for providing immediate relief to our state, and also to immediately pay all the outstanding amounts due under the state disaster response funds to Tamil Nadu. Already we have given 2 representations to the Home Minister on 17/1/2022 and Honorable Prime Minister on 29/12/2021 by our Honorable Chief Minister. Therefore, I request this August House to ponder upon the Honorable Union Minister to release these funds and help the financial problems of Tamil Nadu. Thank you, Chairman. Sir.
Attention of the Leader of the House, sir. Sir, Tirumala is one of the revered religious shrines for Hindus across the world, sir. Sir, TTD is a renowned where it undertakes a social, educational, religious, charitable and cultural activities, sir. For conducting these activities, it needs huge financial resources, including the donations from abroad, from NRIs. Sir, Ministry of Home Affairs has withheld the renewal of FCRA registration for TTD on purely technical grounds, even though all requirements of renewals have been fulfilled. Sir, as of today, up to 31st December 2021, 13.4 crores of funds are in the designated foreign contributions in the bank account. So the importance of the temple, it is very important for the Hindus, and BJP, I'm referring to BJP, has an Act East policy. I request the BJP to adopt Look South policy also and take care of this Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. BJP claims that it is a torchbearer of Hindu nationalism.
Please,
where is it?
No
where
mention
is the
of parties.
nationalism shown in the case of
No mention
TTD?
of parties. This will not go on record. Sri Dr. Narendra Yadav. Right. Dr. Narendra Yadav. Yadav ji, please. क्या बोल सकते? You can sit and speak.
Okay. Sir, I would like to thank you very much, sir. I would like to invite your attention to the fact that during the natural disasters, several of our historical monuments get destroyed. This happened recently. Last year it happened in Gujarat, and it's happening year after year. I strongly recommend to the government that all the national heritages and the sites of national importance, monuments of national importance, they should be systematically analyzed for their susceptibility to disasters. They should be graded accordingly, and the policy towards preservation of monuments should be integrated as a part of the overall disaster management policy. This is very, very important. I strongly recommend that, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Fauzia Khan and Sri Sushil Kumar Modi, Sri Sanjay Singh to associate. Fauzia Khan from Lok Sabha.
Lok Sabha Chamber, sir. Sir, the recent recruitment process of the railway examination has exposed the deeper issues of unemployment and a failed education system. More so, sir, in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Several student organizations, sir, including the All India Student Association, has called for a statewide bandh to protest against the irregularities in the railway recruitment board's non-technical Popular Categories Examination 2021. Protesters have burnt effigies of our Honorable Prime Minister and have vandalized trains. A passenger coach in Gaya last Wednesday was set on fire, sir. They had advertised about 35,281 vacancies for Group C jobs, sir. And they had also promised to select 20 times the number of vacancies for the second round.
What is your suggestion, ma'am?
Sir, the suggestion is that the overall issue of unemployment, particularly in Bihar, must be looked at, and the irregularities that are alleged by the students in this examination must be examined and corrected. Thank you, sir.
Sushil Kumar Modi, to associate.
रेलवे मंत्रालय को सुझाव है कि ग्रुप डी का जो एग्जाम है जिसमें मोर देन 1.25 लाख स्टूडेंट्स आर देयर, पहले एक एग्जाम अनाउंस किया गया था. ऑल ऑफ अ सडन ऑन 24 जनवरी इट वाज अनाउंस दैट देयर विल बी 2 एग्जाम. तो मेरा आग्रह है कि एक एग्जाम ग्रुप डी का होना चाहिए. देयर इज नो रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ 2 एग्जाम. दे आर नॉट आईएएस और आईपीएस एग्जाम. 10th क्लास के लड़के से पहला डिमांड ये है कि ग्रुप डी के लिए इंस्टेड ऑफ 2 एग्जाम देयर शुड बी 1 एग्जाम एंड वाज अनाउंस्ड अर्लियर. एंड एज फार एज एक मिनट रिगार्डिंग एनटीपीसी, जो 35,000 सीट्स हैं उसके 3.5 लाख रिजल्ट और अनाउंस किया जाना चाहिए. 1 स्टूडेंट 1 रिजल्ट, एक स्टूडेंट का 3 जगह नाम है. तो इसलिए जो 7 लाख रिजल्ट अनाउंस किया है, इट इज एक्चुअली ओनली 3,50,000. So I appeal the railway ministry to announce another 3,50,000 results of the students so they can appear in the exam. इसलिए मेरा आग्रह है कि कमेटी की रिपोर्ट का बिना इंतजार किए ये जो 2 डिमांड है, ग्रुप डी का एक एग्जाम एंड
मैं सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूं आप से सर कि ये जो छात्रों का जो आक्रोश था सर, उसके पीछे की एक बहुत बड़ी वजह यह थी कि जो रेलवे भर्ती बोर्ड के द्वारा परीक्षा कराई गई, पहले तो निकाला गया, भर्ती निकाली गई, परीक्षा बहुत विलंब से कराई गई और जो रिजल्ट आया है मान्यवर, वो जरूर माननीय मंत्री जी को उसकी जांच करानी चाहिए. एक एक रोल नंबर कई बार रिपीट होकर रिजल्ट निकला सर. इससे ज्यादा गड़बड़ी तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकती रेलवे भर्ती बोर्ड में. तो इसलिए मान्यवर उनके साथ दुश्मनों की तरह व्यवहार न किया जाए. प्रयागराज में उनपे लाठीचार्ज हुआ, पटना में लाठीचार्ज हुआ और सर वो दृश्य आप देखेंगे तो आप रो देंगे सर. उनको घरों में घुस के मारा गया, उनको घरों में घुस के लाठियों से पीटा गया सर. और मैं आपसे निवेदन ये करना चाहता हूं, विनती करना चाहता हूं आपके माध्यम से, हमारे देश के नौजवानों की समस्या को, छात्रों की समस्या को सुनने के बजाय सरकारें अगर उनसे लाठी और मुकदमों से निपटेंगी तो काम नहीं चलेगा. 1,000 लोगों पे एफआईआर हुई सर, 1,000 छात्रों पे एफआईआर हुई है.
रविंद्र कुमार
वापस होनी चाहिए.
रविंद्र कुमार
please. Thank you, Chairman sir. The Madiga and Relli communities are least progressed in the society. They are forced to profess unclean and filthy occupations such as cleaning of toilets, etc. These groups of scheduled castes in Telugu-speaking states have been demanding subcategorization of scheduled castes. Due to non-categorization, only certain scheduled castes are reaping the benefits of the reservation and other groups are unable to reap the benefits of the reservation. Due to this inequality is in rise in terms of education and employment, etc. This has to be solved by a suitable legislation as well as the executive measures. In the year 1999, TDP under the leadership of Chandrababu Naidu Garu classified A, B, C, D groups and implemented up to 2004. Supreme Court quashed this classification, stating that Parliament can only do enactment. The Legislative Assembly of AP passed unanimous resolution on 10/12/2004 and also state the matter to take up the Parliament and pass an act. Categorization of the scheduled caste into groups for equal distribution of reservation benefit. The Legislative Assembly of Telangana State passed a resolution on 29/11/2014. The Congress Party also issued about the classification in their manifesto. The National Commission to examine the issue subcategorization scheduled caste in Andhra Pradesh was set up on 16/11/2006. Justice Usha Mehra as its chairperson. The subcommission recommended that Article 41 of the Constitution of India to be amended for subcategorization.
Right.
Sir, there is one such judgment pronounced by E.V. Chennaiah and versus State of AP by the Constitution bench upheld that states have no such power to provide reservation within the reservation. Last year in a judgment delivered by the five judges bench.
Time is over.
Sir, finally,
it's an important issue, I do admit, but time
I
is over.
request the government to take necessary steps to provide reservation.
Question hour. No, time is over. It's not going on record, Ravindra Kumarji. Sri Derek Oberyn, not present. Minister, supplementary. RAJYSabha.
Oh, Chairman, sir, giving the opportunity to put a supplementary question. Yes, I am very happy and also congratulate the Modi government and also Honorable Minister taking such kind of effort to say the Beti Bachao, that kind of program. But I have seen that reply, you have given the detailed things of what are the measures taken by the Modi ji government to save the female child. That is the very important thing. But I want to know from the Honorable Minister, see, you know very well in Tamil Nadu, when this kind of situation took place 91, 92 at the time, Honorable Amma took a cradle baby system to save the female child. That is the scheme that she brought and introduced, saved so many female girls and give good education. Can the minister come forward this kind of scheme to implement throughout the India to save the female child? That is I want to know.
Thank you. This is your suggestion. Please.
The honourable member's suggestion and the concern that he has expressed. So under this scheme, the democratization of policy measure is such that every district can use any measure that they deem fit, including a state government can take any decision they may deem fit to ensure that the girl child is safe. This particular suggestion of the honourable member shall be communicated to his state government.
Thank you. Srimati Chaya Verma.
डेरेक जी ने ये प्रश्न उठाया है कि कितने प्रतिशत राशि धनराशि महिला बाल विकास के प्रचार प्रसार में खर्च हुआ। मंत्री जी का जवाब मैंने पढ़ा, इसमें जवाब में आया है कि 20-21 में 58% राशि महिला बाल विकास का जितनी राशि एलोकेट किया गया उसमें 58% राशि विज्ञापन एवं प्रचार प्रसार में खर्च किया गया। डेरेक जी है नहीं, मेरा सवाल आपके माध्यम से ये है कि मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से जानना चाहती हूँ, क्या आने वाले समय में थर्ड जेंडर को महिला बाल विकास के आंगनबाड़ियों में प्राथमिकता के आधार पर नौकरी में रखा जाएगा क्या? ये मैं जानना चाहती हूँ।
माननीय सदस्य ने इस बात का उल्लेख किया कि इस स्कीम के अंतर्गत मात्र प्रचार प्रसार में भारत सरकार पैसा खर्च करती है। मैं उनको इस सदन में अवगत कराना चाहती हूँ कि भारत सरकार 100% 400 से ज़्यादा जिलों में प्रत्येक जिला को 50 लाख रुपए प्रदान करती है ताकि जिला अधिकारी और प्रदेश की सरकार जैसा कार्यक्रम उचित समझे वैसा उसको अपने प्रदेश में अपने ज़िले में वो इम्प्लीमेंट करे। जहाँ तक कि आंगनवाड़ी सिस्टम्स में किसको नौकरी देना, ICDS प्रोग्राम जो अब मिशन पोषण के नाम से जाना जाता है उसमें भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन का अधिकार प्रदेश सरकार का है।
धन्यवाद। श्री मनोज कुमार झा जी।
शुक्रिया। माननीय मंत्री जी, अभी हाल में परसों ही एक रिपोर्ट आई है कि उत्तर प्रदेश में कुपोषण के लक्षण बहुत चिंताजनक हैं, बावजूद उसके पोषण अभियान के 66% फंड का यूटिलाइजेशन नहीं हुआ है। क्या ये सच है?
माननीय सदस्य जो प्रश्न कर रहे हैं वो इस प्रश्न से संबद्ध नहीं है, लेकिन इतना निश्चित रूप से कहना चाहूँगी कि जनवरी 13 पिछले साल हमने पोषण अभियान की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के अंतर्गत नए गाइडलाइंस हर प्रदेश की सरकार को प्रस्तुत किए थे। तत्पश्चात हर माह प्रदेश की सरकारों के साथ समन्वय से हम हर घर तक, हर बेनिफिशियरी के घर तक उनके जो लाभ हैं वो पहुँचे, विच इंक्लूड्स राशन। हमें प्रदेश की सरकार ने अवगत कराया है और रिपोर्ट भी उपस्थित करवाई गई है, जिसके अंतर्गत प्रदेश की सरकारें विच इंक्लूड्स उत्तर प्रदेश बेनिफिशरीज के डोर स्टेप तक बेनिफिट देकर आई हैं।
धन्यवाद। क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 ऑनरेबल श्री वाइको जी। Shri Vaiko, not present. Question number 2. Wait, the answer is late, please. Manya Abdul Wahab ji, supplementary.
By Muslims, Dalits and tribals, entry level there are eligible number of minorities, Dalits and tribals in our celebrated media rooms also. Question is whether the government will give any direction to the private sector to publish their employees' demography to understand the situation of discrimination, or constitute a committee to study about such discrimination in private sector.
Thank you, Abdul Wahab.
Honorable Chairman, it is subject to the legislation. However, the government is very sensitive to the issue of the affirmative action, including reservation in the private sector, and has initiated wide-ranging consultations with the view to explore the best possible way to ensure that private sector fulfills the aspiration of the youth. At present, the Constitution does not provide any mandate for the reservation of the jobs for SC, ST or the general, even the general category in the private sector, sir. The reservation of the private sector can be provided by only bringing the legislation in the Constitution, which would therefore require wider discussion, consultation with the stakeholders before we will be taking up the issue, sir.
Thank you. Manya Shri P. Bhattacharya ji from Lok Sabha. Please put your question. Voice, mic is not working. Please, Manya P. Bhattacharya ji from Lok Sabha, your voice. Hello, mic is not working. Please tell.
I am speaking.
Yes, please. अब सुनाई दे रही है आपकी आवाज. Please.
सुनाई जा रहा है तो?
जी हाँ.
In so many cases, we have seen the private sectors are avoiding to follow the reservation for the youths. Why the government of India is not going to put up a legislation so that all the private sector industry has to follow the reservation policy followed by the government of India and the state government?
Thank you. Mani Mantri ji.
Sir, our honorable member is asking so many questions about the reservation in the private sector. But with regarding the affirmative action for the SC and ST and the other general caste private sectors, coordination committee is there. It was set up by the Prime Minister's office in 2006 under the chairmanship of the Principal Secretary of the Prime Minister, sir. It had held 9 meetings from the 2006 till 2019, sir, and it is received suggestions from the various stakeholders, sir. Even for the reservation of the ST and ST, there was a coordination committee to resolve the unemployment problems. The committee held several meetings, sir, and advised the taken the appropriate action on the issue of the consulting the concerned departments and HRs of the private companies. They provide the employment for the candidates who belong to SC, sir. Even our government, as by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is advised to promote and set up more skill training programs in all the sectors of the entire private sector, sir.
Thank you. Dr. Sivdashan. Dr. Sivdashan. Please.
Decreasing number of jobs of SC/ST community in private sector the last 5 years?
The question will not arise, sir, because we have no such statistics, sir.
Question number 3, Dr. C.M. Ramesh. Manya Mantri ji. First supplementary.
Autonomy accompanied by physical responsibility to the Panchayat Raj department, Panchayat Raj system in the country.
सभापति महोदय, पंचायत राज मंत्रालय के माध्यम से राज्य की संचित निधि से पंचायतों को सहायता अनुदान के लिए
Mike.
पंचायत राज मंत्रालय के माध्यम से राज्य की संचित निधि से पंचायतों को सहायता अनुदान के लिए राज्य विधानमंडलों से प्राधिकरण प्राप्त करके पंचायतों को सुदृढ़ वित्त साथ ही पंचायतों के निर्दिष्ट करों शुल्कों पदकर का प्रावधान है। 5 वर्षों में पंचायतों वित्तीय स्थिति की समीक्षा केंद्रीय वित्त आयोग और राज्य वित्त आयोग के माध्यम से भी की जाती है।
थैंक यू। माननीय सदस्यगण, जहां आपकी एलोकेटेड सीट से कृपया वहां बैठें और जो सदस्य गैलरी और लोकसभा में बैठे हो कृपया बैठकर ही सवाल पूछें। माइक से आवाज आएगी और सुनाई देगा। कनक मेदला रविंद्र कुमार जी, सेकंड सप्लीमेंट्री प्लीज।
सर गैलरी सर,
सेकंड सप्लीमेंट्री।
Sir, to improve effectiveness of governance mechanism, in some states, it is gathered that the certain minimum qualifications for the representatives have been prescribed. Whether the government may consider this aspect and also consider providing training to local representatives to ensure more effectiveness of Panchayat Raj system in the country.
Thank you.
सर, पंचायत सदस्यों को न्यूनतम अर्हता का जो सब्जेक्ट है वो राज्य का विषय है। केंद्र सरकार निहरता तय नहीं कर सकती क्योंकि चुनाव लेना है राज्य का सब्जेक्ट है, लेकिन चुन के आने के बाद पंचायत राज मंत्रालय की एक योजना है RGSA, उसमें हम लोग 2 तरह के प्रशिक्षण जो चुन के आते सदस्य उनको देते हैं। इसमें बेसिक ट्रेनिंग, जो सदस्य चुन के आते हैं उनके अधिकार क्या है, तो चुन के आने के बाद किस तरह से गांव के विकास में योगदान दे, उसका प्रशिक्षण उनको दिया जाता है। उसके 2 साल के बाद में रेफरेंस ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है। जो अभी नया टेक्नोलॉजी आया है तो टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से अपनी ग्राम पंचायत ग्राम स्वराज के माध्यम से किस तरह से जुड़े, अपने गांव का विकास करने के लिए सारे जो पोर्टल है वो किस तरह से आत्मसात करे, इसका ट्रेनिंग 2 साल के अंदर दिया जाता है। और ये केंद्र और राज्य सरकार की पुरस्कृत योजना है और ट्रेनिंग देने का काम राज्य सरकार करती है।
धन्यवाद। श्री कनक मेदला रविंद्र कुमार जी।
सर गैलरी नंबर 4 सर, गैलरी नंबर 4 सर
प्लीज। हाँ, फ्रॉम गैलरी, यस
sir. Sir, in view of the constitutional amendments, the Panchayat Raj institutions are strengthened, but in respect of Andhra Pradesh, there is a complaint that the funds released for the panchayatis has been diverted and withdrawn from all the panchayati accounts. If that is so, the panchayat institutions